What up, peeps? It's your girl, Dash Confecti for Real Takes. Well, you guys, it's that time again. It's movie news time, and I have a thick stack here. It's a lot. I think I have 16 things to discuss here, so my brain is on overload. So you know what? Let's just go ahead and jump into this. First order of business is I wanted to discuss the fact that I know one particular trailer just dropped on Friday. And this particular article has something to do with that, and it has to do with the Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw. Now, of course, I've already, by this time when you guys see this, I've already done the trailer reaction for that, and I will say I really enjoyed it. I was kind of on the fence. I discussed it for the course of a couple of weeks off and on about how I was kind of iffy about it because of just everything that in line with how this came to be. And I can see that I feel like it's certain parallels happening in regards to this recent story coming up, and let me go ahead and use that as the segue into that. Now, this has to do with the fact that it's now been reported and noted from Dwayne Johnson that he will not be a part of Fast and Furious #9. And in some ways, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm really not surprised now. We all know he first came on board when he did Fast 5. He was the ultimate antagonist for Dom, and very good because he was a federal agent. He was at any cost to get the guy, whichever. Then, as you know, over the course of that particular movie and then the next one, he came along to be a part of the crew, the team, whatever, and all that, to eventually start taking down other bad guys. Now, from what we're hearing, a lot of stuff happened prior to this stuff, whatever. Now, when he did the Fate and the Furious, of course, with the rest of the Fast and Furious crew, whichever, unbeknownst to me, I did not realize that they did not do scenes together. If you all look at the movie, honestly, you couldn't really tell. You're just thinking it's just them doing the movie, whichever. But when I hear back now after the fact, now it's kind of makes some little bit of sense. Because I said, I don't know how Vin feels about this, and I didn't think he felt too good about the possibility, because we knew they had good chemistry, and I'm talking about Johnson and Jason Statham, because they were really good in the characters that they played when they finally came together in the most recent couple of the Fast and Furious movies. And from there, I'm assuming a light bulb must have went off, and they just decided, you know, maybe this could be a possibility, you know, if they consider, because I know down the road Vin wanted to eventually do some spin-offs that will segue from the Fast and Furious, so other characters could kind of continue on and thriving with their own characters and moving in another direction, which is fine, whichever. Now, with the simple fact that we know one of the producers of part of the franchise did not take too kindly to the possibility of them doing a Hobbs and Shaw. We know how Tyrese Gibson felt. He made it abundantly clear on social media that he had to kind of take a step back. It is what it is, and it's, you have every right to feel the way you feel, whichever it is, how it is. But we know one person really didn't like and care for, honestly, it was Vin. He's just not very about being, you know, open about that type of information. He's very private, as we all know. We rarely hear anything from him unless he has to do an interview for anything that's up and coming for whatever he's attached to in regards to movies. So to hear from recently Dwayne, I'm going to read what he said. He says, "The plan has always been for Fast and Furious universe to grow and expand. And as of now, we're not in Fast 9 because they're getting ready to start shooting." And he's talking about him and Jason. And he says, but who knows, with Fast 10 and down the road, you never know. Because look, at the end of the day, the truth is there's unfinished business between Hobbs and Dom. It's unfinished. This is what I think, and you all can just put your 2 cents in the comment section as you want. I feel like since he was doing that movie, and it's a possibility that there could be another story they want to tell, whatever, and they can of course bring him, like he said, into 10, but I feel like it's a possibility they could bring him into 9, but they don't want to. And I feel like the main people in charge of to continue on Fast 5 do not want to. I feel like this is some sort of like a thrashing of sorts, like, no, since you want to do your Hobbs and Shaw, go ahead and do that, and when we do the next one, you will not be in that. It's not like Dwayne Johnson does not have a plethora of work lined up anyway. So it's like, you know, don't have any sob tears for him. He's fine. I know some people do agree probably with this statement about there will be unfinished business. I don't feel like it truly is that much unfinished business, because if you've seen the last bit of the actual movies, it wasn't even the underlining where they had not have a talk about something that was brewing between the two of them, whichever. Unfinished business between actually Dwayne and Vin, in regards to however that stuff went down prior to them doing the Fate and the Furious, before things happen where you all are not even doing, you know, scenes together. So, you know, we'll have to see how this pans out, but I'm not surprised. It'll be really shady if he's not even in 10 either, but we'll see how that go. I'm just curious, you know, because if I'm not mistaken, I'm wondering if Dom's going to, aka, excuse me, Vin, will be doing them back to back, because I know he's now a part of Triple X4. So I don't know if that's going to fall somewhere in between, or if they're going to be doing both of them back to back, and then, you know, Triple X4 will come out, you know, they're going to start production on that, because from what I was told, he's supposed to be doing them back to back, 9 and 10. So we'll have to see moving into that, and it's not much longer until they start actually production on Fast and Furious 9. So we'll have to see. Now the dates they have, of course, you already know, for the Hobbs and Shaw movie, that is August of this year. Fast Furious 9 will be April 10th, 2020. So I'm going to keep my eyes close on this one, because I'm curious, you know, once we know who's coming on board as maybe the villain antagonist for 9, and then seeing, of course, the rest of the crew coming back, whoever's going to make an appearance, and then moving from that, how it's going to move forward from that. But that's interesting, you know, that he's not a part of that, but I'm not that surprised with that. So, but moving on. Now, this is one of those ones I'm actually excited to hear about, even though it is considered a remake, but I'm excited. I do love the original, but I'm excited about the person who's attached to write and also possibly direct, and this has to do with Escape from New York. Now, I've been hearing about this for a while, off and on. Now, if you all remember the original one, that was the one with Kurt Russell, directed by John Carpenter. I love the first one, and the original is the best. It's going to be hard. I'm going to compare it. It's nothing for me to get out of my way to compare stuff like that, especially when you know one of them is considered like a cult classic. Carpenter has so many cult classics, it's not even funny. That's why I get very, you know, a staunch feeling for certain ones not being remade. Some of them, I'll be honest with you, I get biased about it, whichever. I don't want them, whatever. So I find sometimes I have a hypocrite over top of me as a halo, but I'm just being honest. So for this one, word is out that the writer on this has been snagged up is Leigh Whannell. Now, I love some of the things he's been attached to. Of course, he was attached to Saw. You know, he's been attached to Insidious. He actually directed Insidious 3. He also had a quick little cameo in Aquaman. You know, he was the cargo plane pilot. If you all recall that one scene, if you weren't paying attention, I recognized his face off the jump. I'm also excited because of the fact that he did an awesome job being a director of the movie Upgrade, which was one of my notable mentions of one of my favorite movies of 2018. So it's kind of fitting. And then on top of the fact that I just talked about him about a week ago about being attached to being on board to direct Invisible Man. So I'm already feeling the fact that they're using him to be considered for Escape from New York. So I'm just hoping he might possibly direct. They're just saying he's attached to write, nothing about directing, but it's a possibility. Now, they are claiming that Robert Rodriguez at first was attached, but he's now stepped down. So they're leaving the door open to see if he might itch towards doing that. So we'll have to see if that does happen. I'm totally down for that. So, and who knows, if we hear from John Carpenter, he kind of vibes with him, whatever, and gives him kind of like a little thumbs up, okay, whatever, that's kind of like sealing the deal. That's how I felt about another movie that Kurt Russell did with John Carpenter, and of course my mind's gonna lose it, whichever. I might just post the poster up here, whichever, you know, because I just lost my train of thought with that. But yes, yeah, I really hope that he gives his blessing if he likes Leigh Whannell enough to think that he might, you know, be a good director for this, is a good fit. But as long as he writes a good script for this, so that will be interesting to see how that's gonna pan out. But yeah, I'm gonna keep my tabs on this moving forward. Now that we definitely have a writer, and a good one at that, I feel confident it's going to turn out really good. And I'm curious to know, now that this has been in consideration for quite a long time for them to consider doing this movie, who's going to play the main character. That's going to be essential as well. So you already know how I feel about these things, and you already know how I am. When I know more, you will know more about that. Now, this is another reboot that at first I was kind of iffy, but I'm liking the casting that's coming along with this one, and this has to do with Dune. Now, if you all remember, of course, the original, that's the one from 1984, David Lynch. I had a little chat with somebody who will see this, who says they're not familiar with a lot of David Lynch, and I told them, I gave them a little homework, and I put this on the list with some other things, and I really hope that they watch this. I expect a response probably from him in my IG, that he's going to probably say something, and he should be glad I didn't put his name out here, because I could be really shady and say that, but no. Okay, moving forward. But yes, I'm excited about this one. With this particular one, if you all remember the original cast, it had Kyle MacLachlan and Virginia Madsen. I'm a fan of both. They do awesome work. They have many works going back, honestly, like you said, to the 80s until current, whichever. So I was kind of iffy about this, but I'm loving the casting on this. It's looking pretty good. One in particular person is being vied to come on board, and it is Javier Bardem. I am a fan of him. I first came across him when he did No Country for Old Men, and he was amazing. So amazing that he won that Oscar, and it was rightfully deserved. And then from there, he's done other movies that I loved over the years. He, of course, did Skyfall, so good. And then there's another movie, I want to say, is it In Love in the Time of Clara? I'm gonna put the poster up somewhere so you can kind of see it. That's a beautiful love story. I just love that movie, and just great work overall. He's done many of work, but those are some of the main ones that stand out to me that he's done an awesome job in. So I hope that he's considering the person he will be playing, if in case you all are not familiar with it, is going to be Stilgar. So I'm excited at the fact of that. Now let me put out the rest of the names. I want to note all the different characters that are being added thus far. Of course, one of them being Timothy Chalamet, Rebecca Ferguson, like Rebecca's in this one, Oscar Isaac, another good choice, David Bautista, and then Charlotte Rampling, I love her. And then I think a recent one that just been added is Zendaya. So yes, the casting looks really, really good. I'm excited for this particular one, and from what they're saying, they're not noting exactly when it's going to start production, but I'm definitely looking forward to knowing a little bit more as it going on. I says now they got the main cast they're trying to put together, and just waiting to see if Javier is going to come on board. Some other casting down the road probably will be added as well, but these are the main ones thus far, and I think this is rather looking good, and it makes me even a little bit more intrigued and excited actually to see it. So I know a lot of individuals who definitely will be doing a comparison when it comes out. Now the director attached to this, and wanted to get his name correctly because it's a very unique name. His name is Denis Villeneuve, and I'm looking forward to seeing his adaptation to this. I'm looking forward to seeing what he's going to do with this particular one, because the first one is just, it literally is beautifully done. I love it. So yes, you guys, I wanted to note that with that one. So when I know more about exactly production and when they have an actual date stating when this comes out, I'll let you guys know. Now I'm going to start talking about a lot of different movie releases that are going to be coming out going into 2020 and 2021. The first one, now that we have an actual release date for it, and I'm actually glad because now I'm getting more information about it, and I've been talking about it for like the last couple of weeks, and that is the movie The Batman. Now at first I had told you guys that they called it the Untitled Batman Project. Looks like he's going to go ahead and stick with the Batman. It looks like Matt Reeves is finally giving us some more information. We're now getting the date. It's going to be June 25th, 2021, and I'm glad we now have a date. Also, we know that now it's been said fully, Ben will not be attached. We already kind of knew this, but they're going with a more, definitely a newer actor, but in regards to the character in the movie, they want to go with a more younger Batman, aka Bruce. So good. Finally, we have an idea of what they're going to be doing. So from what I'm hearing, casting is going to start revving up, whichever, because they're looking at starting, like I stated, production in November, and I'm ready for them to get this ball going with casting so we can see what some choices that they have that they would like to put, into this now. And I'm looking forward to seeing some of the ones they want to pick, because I really want this to work out good. I'm still a little bit bummed that Ben Affleck is not going to be in this, because I'm going to tell you like this. A lot of people tried to dog him at first, whichever, but then he truly surprised a lot of people. I knew he was good for doing a little bit of action, but not to that magnitude, being that it's a part of a superhero that's in a comic. So when he showcased that in one particular scene, which was like the warehouse, like a little warehouse type of scene, I was like, okay, I see he put the work in. It was good, and I felt like, okay, they found him a Batman, so when they eventually did their standalone, he would just go in there and he's just going to kill it and nail it, whichever. So we'll have to see the potential, what they're going to do, because whoever's coming in similar to Ben, body's got to be right, those fight sequences got to be right. Yeah, you're going to get analyzed, head to toe, everything, the look, your aesthetic. It's just, it's sad. I feel the pressure for whoever they're going to pick, and the pressure of them making sure they found the perfect choice. So I hope they take their time, and I hope it doesn't get leaked out who they're looking at, so people don't chime in, let Matt figure out what he's doing. We don't know anything really about this, the actual, script or anything. So if they can keep some of that under wraps, whatever, and then get it narrowed down, and then, who knows, they might narrow some down, and it might get out, and people might put out their thoughts. But I'm hoping it's a person. Even if I keep thinking, could they use a newcomer? I don't know. That's going to be something interesting if they do that. Some people might have a lot to say about that. They might want somebody who is kind of a little known, whichever, because you really want them to be able to fill in them seats at the theater. So I'm just saying whichever. So, but yeah, that's what I want to definitely talk about with that. Also, I'm hearing in regards to Matt, he's stating that it's going to be multiple villains. Now, I talked about how one person is vying for a particular character, and that's Josh Gad. He would love to be considered for Penguin as being one of the villains that could probably be showcased in the movie. That is interesting if he's considering it. I can see the potential there. I'm kind of down for that. Now, when I think about a lot of the villains that I've liked over the years, I love the one in the Batman Returns where it was, of course, as Penguin, Danny DeVito, and of course Catwoman, Michelle Pfeiffer, love her. Then, you know, seeing the other movies like from Christopher Nolan, like from the Dark, you know, what is it, the Dark Knight trilogies. I love seeing what was it, Scarecrow played by Cillian Murphy. We had Aaron Eckhart who played Two-Face, of course Heath Ledger as the Joker. And then I can't say enough about how much we got introduced to Tom Hardy as Bane. I mean, what can you say about that? He played the hell out of that character. So these are some really good ideas of some possibilities for some of the villains. Also, I'm hearing in regards to him in this particular one, he's going to get back into being more of like a very kind of true to his detective side, whichever. It was mostly in the most recent movies a lot more about the action type of, you know, vibe they were given for the comic book, you know, superhero, but he's going to hone in on that, and I'm kind of down to see that more so because I'm kind of used to more of the action aspect of. I don't mind action, but give us that as well. It could be an even kill. There's nothing like they can't do that. So I'm really hoping when we get a little bit of a synopsis of how he's going to do this particular one, that will kind of give you an idea, and people who read the comics will probably can tell if they feel like this is going to be what we want to see. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm down for it. So just glad we're getting more information now. So like I said, get that casting rolling so we can get this moving. So moving from that, another movie I'm looking forward to. This is a sequel, and this is a release date we're finally getting, and it's for the retail, well, not The Shining's sequel, Doctor Sleep. I'm looking forward to this one, and it's loaded for November 8th, 2019. Now, at first, it was actually noted for January of 2020. We didn't have an actual date in January, but it looks like they have decided to move it. And let me tell you why they stated this. I had to note this, and this came from Deadline. They says, as a vote of confidence, they decided to move it to November instead of January, because it says January tends to be a dumping ground for movies that studios don't believe will be critical or commercial hits. I'm glad the studios feel, you know, kind of feel that way, whichever, but I'm like this. I would rather them say if they'd ask moviegoers how they feel about January instead of studios, because I'm thinking things are changing with the tide with January, and I'm kind of hoping we're getting out of this feeling, and I've discussed this over the course of the last couple of months about certain movies coming out in January, February. Stop always feeling the need to make everything around the summer, whichever, and even November. You can space out some good movies. If a person is a true movie buff, it does not matter what month it is. Just put the movie out. If you do proper marketing and your trailers, then you won't have no problem getting people in there. I don't understand what the problem is, and I could use, like I said, a couple other certain movies, like the movies like Logan, when Split came out. We have some other things that came out in January that did very well. I just don't understand why they feel like January, and it's like we're still there talking about this. I want them to get to the point where all year long you can put out a good damn movie and stop thinking that it has to be only selected certain months that you feel like people can go to the movies. People go to movies all the time. It does not matter what month, you know, and sometimes in November, it's not everything that comes out in November I'm going to go see, or even December. And that can be said for 4th of July and May as well. So I'm like, I don't care about that. If it's a movie I want to see, it just happens to come out that month, then fine, I'm going to go see it. But it doesn't be always in January. I don't know how that's going. Really? Oh my God, I can't stand that type of stuff. So, but moving from that, the director Mike Flanagan, I'm excited that he is attached to this. Great director. Plus, he actually, I don't know if a lot of people do know that he was a part, and he actually was the editor, but he was the director of all 10 episodes of The Haunting of Hill House. And I'm gonna tell you, that was a good first season on Netflix. If you are not seeing that, you really need to get on that. He did an awesome job doing that. I was literally glued to my seats. It was done very, very well. So I feel like this movie was going to be perfect. So I'm looking forward to seeing this. Again, the date, you guys, is November 8th, 2019. Of course, it stars Ewan McGregor, Rebecca Ferguson, look at that name again, and then Jacob Tremblay. So I'm looking forward to seeing this, you know. So moving from that, another one I'm excited we're starting to hear slow information about, and that is Suicide Squad 2, but let me just note, it's not going to be called that anymore. It's going to be called The Suicide Squad. So that's going to be the new official title for the movie. And the date that they're stating is going to be August 6, 2021. We're starting to get a lot of stuff coming that's showcasing for 2021 and 2020. So you guys, they're already starting to fill them up already. I'm excited for this because from what I'm also hearing is that it's going to be written by James Gunn, and it looks like he's in the process of being considered to be also the director. That would be nice. Nothing wrong with that. He did a good job when he did Guardians of the Galaxy, so I'm looking forward to that. Plus, he's producing and he's working alongside his brothers who are going to be doing a movie I'm planning to see that comes out, I think, in May called Brightburn. So I'm loving some of the things that they're both, the Gunns are putting out, the Gunn brothers are putting out, and of course, James Gunn being at the helm of that. But I'm looking forward to this. I know that, of course, right now we have Margot Robbie dealing in her character Harley for Birds of Prey. We know that Will Smith, of course, is in the midst of doing Bad Boys 3 right now, but of course he'll be back doing his particular, title role. I just want to see who else is going to come back. I know that was it Viola Davis? She was alive and kicking in the last one, so we'll have to see what else happens in regards to who else will be coming back from the original cast from the first movie, which came out, was it 2016? Yes. So maybe, who knows, Joker might come back. I don't know, but I'm down to see whatever else information they'll give us for this. But this is all we have as of right now. So when I know more about that, definitely if he's going to be the director, I'm going to definitely note that. So, but again, the date is going to be August 6th, 2021. So I'm glad we actually have a date for that, because I had discussed how things were being lined up. Of course, definitely with Will Smith, whatever, with the way he was doing stuff, because they wanted him to do the movie, but it was being pushed back because he's working on other movies. Of course, Bad Boy 3 is going in order, like I stated, that, and then of course him finishing Bad Boys 3, and then after he finishes that, they're going to probably start on Suicide Squad, The Suicide Squad, excuse me. And with Margot doing her movie, this is perfect time, because both of them are working right now, and hopefully when they both finish their movies, they'll be probably getting ready to go on set for that. And I think they said closer to November if they would start production with that, like I stated last year, late last year, when I was talking about the earlier information about them considering doing a Suicide Squad 2. So yes, I'm looking forward to that one. Also, this one I'd already talked about for the last couple of weeks, and it's The Witches. I'm excited about this movie. Of course, it's going to be directed by Robert Zemeckis. We already found out who's going to be the Grand High Witch, and that's going to be played by Anne Hathaway. I'm excited about that. Still don't know who's going to be the grandmother and who's going to be the grandson. And of course, the grandson's sidekick, his little friend, who will be in this movie. We're still waiting to know a little bit more, but I do have a date for this one, of course, for another release, and this one will be October 2020. So I'm actually excited about that. Now, they're claiming also that this production for this will start this coming summer. So that gives you a little bit of time to let them know that they're still not going to be starting too late. They're starting in the summer, so that means they'll probably, if they start the summer, that means they'll be finished by the end of the year, probably beginning of January. So it'll be fitting to come out, and that's all the way till next year, to October. So we have well over a year before this movie comes out. That gives them plenty of time to make sure she looks like a hideous Grand High Witch, because I want to see, because I've said it numerous times, Angelica Houston looked hideous, and I'm wanting her to look the part. She better look hideous. I'm like, do not grapple and make her look less than what she should be when she's supposed to look like a witch. So I'm totally down for this, and I'm hoping we'll find out soon. I heard they were in the midst of casting anyway for the grandmother and also the grandson. So hopefully in the coming months, maybe next month or two, we'll start hearing more who actually is a part of it, since they'll be starting, like I said, production this coming summer. So we only got a couple more months out of the way before summer gets here, and I'm excited for that. So, but moving on, the last order for release dates for stuff coming out, and this is one of my favorites because I'm excited about this, and this has to do with Mission Impossible. Now, I already told you how happy I am that he's doing a Mission Impossible 7 and Mission Impossible 8, and they're going to be done back to back, of course, and they sealed it to make sure that Christopher McQuarrie will be the director for both. They made sure they sealed that. He probably got a nice juicy paycheck for that, and I'm happy because they knew how good 6 did. They knew how to make sure to keep it like that. Tom worked very well with him. I'm loving, this bromance with this, so we want to keep that stride going. So that lets me know I feel very confident these next 2, parts of the franchise will be done perfectly. I'm like a lot of people. Every time he does his movies, it's just he keeps upping the ante. I'm really curious to see how he's going to bring it in the next 2 installments. I just feel like it's going to be, it's got to be epic, but I feel like it's going to be Tom, like I've stated over and over again, is a straight up perfectionist. So he's going to make sure the scenes are perfectly good as much as he can do. He doesn't want to hurt or injure himself again like he did the last time. So hopefully they'll definitely have to monitor that, whichever. We don't want to get himself hurt and killed. Then secondly, just making sure the storyline flows perfectly, because if they're doing these back to back, that means that even though the movie's not going to come up for like another year for us, but at least we'll know that it will intertwine with however that ending is to go right into the next one, so we can see, oh, okay, I remember that happened in 7, so you know, we can kind of go from there. But I'm hoping these two might be the last one, because if he finishes with this 7 and 8, McQuarrie be like ready to move on to other things. I'm hoping he might say that we'll just make this last. It doesn't have to go to 10. I know some people have certain franchises, they'll try to see how far they can take it, but then it's like if the story starts to hurt because of that, just stop. I don't want you to continue doing that. So hopefully Tom and Christopher will sit down, make sure the stories perfectly flow for what they're trying to do. And then also I'm looking forward to seeing the cast come back. And now word is out, they're considering possibly Henry Cavill coming back and Alec Baldwin. I already stated also how I would love to see Ving Rhames, of course, Simon Pegg, of course, Rebecca Ferguson, of course, maybe Angela Bassett will come back. A couple other faces who got out unscathed in some of the previous ones. Love to see Paula Patton come back. Even Maggie Hugh. I would love for Maggie Hugh to come back. I just love me some Maggie Hugh. I would love for her to come back. So we'll have to see. My fingers are crossed for a couple of different individuals to come onto the scene for either one of the movies. It'll have to be one particular one, 7 or 8. So we'll have to see how that pans out with that. But the dates they're giving us, you guys, for Mission Impossible 7 is going to be July 23rd, 2021. And then Mission Impossible 8 will be August 5th, 2022. So, as I said, we are already starting to fill up these dates for this, but I'm here for it. I'm looking forward to it. Yes, 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 yes. Now, moving on from all the release dates for certain movies, wanted to get into this particular one because this is 2 different movies that had decided to swap the dates, whatever, in regards to their release dates anyway. I'm still talking about some release dates. Is Are You Afraid of the Dark and Gemini Man. Now, let me just go ahead and throw out those dates first and foremost, and we'll get into discussion about the movies. For Are You Afraid of the Dark, they're going to be now October the 4th, 2019. And then we have Gemini Man, which will be coming out October the 11th, 2019. Now, I'm excited for both of them. That is later this year. Are You Afraid of Dark? I remember hearing about that a long while ago, that we were going to be getting this, whichever, and I'm actually excited enough. But a lot of you all are not familiar with that. Let me kind of just read the synopsis. This is based off of the children's series back in the 90s, and if you all don't recall, it's like about a group of kids who dubbed themselves the Midnight Society. I had to remind myself what they were called. Gather in the woods at night and take turns to tell each other scary stories around the campfire. It was creepy back then. I remember those, whichever. So, I'm not still a kid anymore, but I can have the nostalgic of it if I decide to watch them, which I plan to. So, I'm excited about that. But the one I'm really looking forward to is Gemini Man. I discussed this as one of those ones I'm really interested in seeing. It was one of my notable mentions for a movie coming out in 2019. Now, I wanted to read the synopsis because I thought it was really interesting when I'd heard about Will Smith being in this, but didn't hear a lot of information about this. We already knew he was a part of, say, what was Aladdin. You definitely know he's going to be a part of Bad Boys. He's going to be doing Bright Suicide Squad, but nothing about this movie called Gemini Man, because it kind of came out of the blue. So they're claiming from this particular one, it's about a man who's basically a movie about him being in a Will Smith's trying to assassinate another Will Smith. It says he plays an assassin of sorts, you know, and it says, what does it say? It says, who is finally starting to falter as he approaches old age. Smith also plays a younger clone of the world's greatest assassin who is charged with hunting down and killing the man he was cloned from. That's kind of the synopsis. I was confusing myself reading off. I'm sorry, guys. Now, another person who's going to be in this is Mary Elizabeth Winstead. Now, if you all are not familiar with her, she's actually going to be Huntress in Birds of Prey. So she's a busy bee as well. She's actually she actually had done this previously, and then she kind of went to this because I haven't seen her in anything as of late. So yeah, she must have wrapped that up, whichever, and then went into working on this. So yes, I'm excited to see her in this, whichever. I think she's a great actress as well. So I'm excited for both of them, and I like that they're both coming out in October. Now the person who's going to have some competition is Are You Afraid of the Dark, because it comes out the week that Joker comes out, starring Joaquin Phoenix and Robert De Niro. So I'm actually excited about that. So there'll be a couple of double features going on certain weekends, starting around the summer, going all the way into the next holiday. But that's okay. That's a true movie buff person. Got to get as many of me as you can, and I plan to do just that. So this is going to be one of those ones I'm definitely looking forward to. October's got quite a few things coming out for them, you know. So that should be really, really good. So moving from that, This is another one I'm actually looking forward to, and this is the one that has stamped on here with Guillermo del Toro, and that has to do with scary stories to tell in the dark. Now, there is a poster that is floating around where it showcases one of the characters, whichever, from the books, and I think they've done a good job because it looks so much similar to the original one, and that lets me know that, you know, when they were putting it together, Guillermo made sure it was perfectly suited to look exactly like it needs to look like. He's mostly coming on here as a writing and I think producing on this. Now, the person who's directing this, his name is Andre Ovredell, excuse me, very unique last name. I'm looking forward to seeing him do his thing in this one, and I'm excited for him because a lot of people are not familiar with Andre. He did direct on, what is it, Troll Hunters, and he also was attached to one of my favorite little horrors I like to watch called The Autopsy of Jane Doe. It's a good movie. If you haven't seen it, you need to see it. So I'm excited for this one. Now, I don't know if a lot of people definitely know about this one as well. This is based off of certain novels. I didn't read these, whichever, so this is me going in blinded. But it says a group of teenagers as they try to solve the mystery behind a series of macabre murders in their hometown. So I'm just kind of going to just go in there blinded. I'm going to watch it. I'm excited for it. I like that this director and then Guillermo are working together, so it gives me like a good little vibe with possibly wanting to see this. Now, the date for this one is August the 9th of this year, so it's not that far out, so it's going to be coming up really soon. It's a lot of stuff coming out in August too, so it's going to be a lot to choose from, whichever, but I'm going to try to make my time to see this one as well, since once Guillermo del Toro is attached to something, most of the time I go and see it anyway. He's just one of those directors, I just love his work, so I will definitely be in the theaters to see this. I'm looking forward to this one. So moving on, you guys. Now, this is, of course, one of those reboots that I was talking about that really honestly wasn't needed, but it's happening, and we're hearing that possibly the trailer might be coming out this week coming up. I'm curious to see if it's coming out. It's supposed to be for Child's Play Reboot. So we already know that they're doing the movie, and we also know they're doing a TV series. I'm still trying to get my mind around the fact of the TV series because I'm not understanding what can they possibly be doing with that. I just can't factor what kind of story they can tell that can just keep going, where it can go after season 1 into another season. So I'm kind of still stumped, and we still haven't seen anything for that. Now, I do know that Don Mancini will be attached, of course, to this, and of course, tagging along, excuse me, you guys, will be Brad Dourif. You know, of course, we've always done the voice for Chucky. He was not too happy with being a part of the movie, so he's definitely going on board with the TV series. So I'm keeping my thoughts about the TV series until I see a trailer for the show to see. Now, I did hear that Sci-Fi picked it up, the Sci-Fi channel, so I'm gonna keep my eyes open to see what they showcase on that, because I will try to at least enjoy the first episode and see kind of how it's going to go and how it's going to look. But as for the reboot for the movie, you've seen the poster, you kind of see how he looks, how Chucky looks. Does look a little creepy, looks more the kind of computerized electronic, the way his face looked like some sort of robot gadget of sorts. So I just have to see him in motion. I need to see him physically moving or whatever to see how they're going to make him look or whatever, facial expressions and all, because the one that was in the movie was creepy when you see all the faces he would make when he was charging at, you know, he was a creepy old mess. So I'm looking forward to seeing that aspect of the movie, whichever, to kind of get me all into it. But yeah, I'm down to see how the reboot's done, but I need to see the trailer. So hopefully this trailer is coming out next week. They were saying maybe over the weekend around, of course, Super Bowl Sunday, but we'll have to see. I seriously doubt that. Knowing them, they'll make you think that and then come out Monday or Tuesday. So we'll continue on, and I'll just keep my eyes open for that. So, but moving on from that. Now, I know I spoke to somebody who had already brought this to my attention, but I did hear about this earlier in the middle of the week, and this has to do with Zack Snyder coming on board to do Army of the Dead, and he's going to be doing it for Netflix. I'm actually excited about that, and as I always say, Netflix stays busy with just all this stuff coming out. Barely have the time to watch the stuff that I already have slated to, you know, on my list of shows and movies, but it's just going to be added to the list of them. Now, this one I'm excited because if you all recall, he did Dawn of the Dead, starring Ving Rhames, Mekhi Phifer, and Sarah Polley. So I'm totally here for this one. I'm actually excited because I think that was his directorial debut, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm actually looking forward to seeing his take on this. Now, I'm going to read some of what he said in the most recent interview. He let it be known when he was talking to The Hollywood Reporter, he was just like, there are no handcuffs on me at all with this one. Like how he said it like that. He says, I love to honor canon and the works of art, but this is the opportunity to find a purely joyful way to express myself through a genre. He says it will be the most kick-ass, self-aware, but not in a wink to the camera way, balls to the wall zombie freak show that anyone has ever seen. No one's ever let me completely loose like this. All right, well then, thank you, Netflix. I'm glad he's going to just go ahead and, you know, bring it. You know, I'm looking forward to that. I love a good zombie movie, so I'm totally down to see what he's going to do with this particular one. So let's just kind of read off also the synopsis for this. It says, Army of the Dead centers around a man who hires a group of mercenaries to invade Las Vegas during a zombie outbreak to pull off the greatest heist ever attempted. And I said, okay, that's kind of interesting. That's a different little take on doing a movie where it curtails into zombies. But I like that. So that means they're going to be, God knows what's going to happen. Then you have all these zombies and you're like, okay, well, we still want that money. We want to get this heist. But I'm like, okay, it's all this happening just in Las Vegas. This is where all the zombies are at. So they get the money, wherever else they're going to. It's just, hopefully they'll get their money for this heist, whatever, so they can sell this stuff or whatever they're doing. Just, I look forward to them giving the overall, you know, aspect of how that's going to play out. Now, I'm assuming once we know who's actually lead casting in this will give me an idea who's going to live. I always like to just jump right to it, you know, especially when you're doing one thing that entails horror. I just want to know who's going to be cast so I can figure out, okay, that one's going to die, that one's going to die, that's going to die. I tend to do that, and I'm going to do that when I see the casting on this one. But I'm excited for this. I'm down for this. And like I said, I'm happy that he's going to be able to kind of do his thing in this because, you know, how things went, you know, when he was a part of the movie for, what was it, not being fully attached with, you know, dealing with Justice League and I'm dealing with Batman versus Superman, you know, movie, whichever. It's just a lot was going on in his personal life, whichever. He had to take a step back. I know he did a short film, but that was kind of basically all he did, whatever. Probably just kind of, you know, flexing his muscles a little bit since he was dealing with, you know, a personal matter, you know, in his life. But I'm kind of glad to see him, you know, up and ready to kind of get back to it, whichever. And with this being that next one coming out from him, I'm looking forward to seeing what he's going to give us on Netflix. Now, it doesn't state when it's supposed to, but they're claiming they're trying to release this in the summer of 2020. So that means I want to think maybe the summer, late summer going to fall, they'll probably start doing production. We'll probably hear more eventually over the course of the next couple of months who's getting actually cast with this. I'm assuming besides him directing this, he's definitely going to probably have some aspect in the writing area as well. Maybe him and someone else, but at least we know he's definitely is a director on this. So I'm looking forward to that one. That should be cool. So, all right, but moving on to another one. Now, this one I'm very interested in because the person at the helm of this particular movie is the co-creator of Westworld, and I'm excited for this. Her name is Elisa Joy. She is creating a new movie, and it's called Reminisce. I'm looking forward to this. The casting on this is going to be starring Hugh Jackman and Rebecca Ferguson. How many times have I said Rebecca Ferguson's name already? I'm just like, she's just all over the place. I love it. I love it. I just think she's just fantastic. So let me just read off the synopsis to you guys so you can kind of get an idea of this. Okay, for Hugh Jackman, he'll be playing a private eye who deals in recapturing vivid, cherished memories for clients. Ferguson, who will be one of his clients, who will fall in love with and then must uncover the mysteries of her past as she ends up disappearing. I like that story, and that is really, really a good storyline. I'm very down to see that. That sounds good. And I love how it's titled Reminisce when you think about them going to past with certain memories. That's a nice title. Now, if you all recall, you remember that Hugh and Rebecca were in The Greatest Showman on Earth, which came out in 2017. So that looks like they're re-teaming again, and so soon. A lot of actors who team in certain movies, it'll be years later before they do another movie together. I actually like that. That's a good little thing too. They had good chemistry. So she must have saw something that she thought was really good after she must have saw the movie and thought they would be perfect for her movie. I like that as well. So we'll have to see how this goes. Now, it claims that since this movie has not been picked up by any studio, it falls in what's happening right now where they're doing this 4% challenge thing, whichever, about trying to get more writers and directors who are women, whichever, within a certain amount of time, whatever, and all that to, you know, put out some good work with certain movie studios. I'm hoping that somebody picks up this movie because this has good potential. Another person who could possibly pick up besides the movie studios is Netflix. Netflix might jump on this particular one. Let's hope they do, because I know a lot of these movie studios are going to start really like, okay, Netflix seems to be taking quite a little bit. A lot of actors, actresses, whatever, are coming to Netflix to do movies and do TV shows. So it is what it is. It's called Competition, and it seems to be very effective. So I'm totally down. I'm going to keep my eyes on this one for sure, because I'm definitely curious to see this particular movie, and I like that. So yes, that looks like that's going to be a good one. Now they're claiming also that for the production for this, it might start filming later this year. They're stating most likely, if not September, October. So again, like I said, if anybody else is casted, we'll have to see who that is. I'm looking forward to seeing else who will come on board for that. Other than that, the two main leads is enough for me to be excited to go see it anyway. So I'm perfectly fine with that. Now there's another movie starring my boy Idris Elba. You already know he's going to be, like I already talked about earlier, and this was the Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw. Of course, he plays Brexit. He's playing the villain. This particular movie, he'll play a good guy, and it's going to be a supernatural movie called Deeper. Now I'm excited for this one, for him, whichever, because this is going to be almost kind of in some ways a standalone movie for him. He's not going to have any other person at this time. They're showcasing that he's casted. Now the synopsis on this one, it says the story concerns a disgraced astronaut who signs on for a hazardous deep sea dive to a newly discovered trench believed to be the lowest point on Earth. It says, but when he arrives in the murky depths, he finds himself confronted by a mysterious and sinister force. And I'm like, okay, I kind of like that. It sounds pretty cool. Now, the person who's directing this, let me get his name right because his name is very unique. His name is on here. It's listed as Baltazar Cormaker, excuse me. Now, I am familiar with some of his work. I can never get his name right. He actually did a couple of movies actually, like where he directed. He directed what was it? Two Guns with Mark Wahlberg and oh gosh, Mark Wahlberg and oh gosh, I can't remember his name. I'm losing my train of thought. Oh gosh, he's one of my favorite actors too. I'm not gonna hurt myself. I'll just put the poster up here, whichever in here. Denzel Washington. My goodness, it finally just clicked. Now for the person who's gonna be writing this, his name is Max Landis. That's John Landis' son. He actually wrote, if y'all remember the movies Bright, Chronicle, and those are some good movies that I enjoyed back in the day. So I'm definitely excited to see what these two individuals working together are going to bring. I know Landis is dealing with some personal issues right now, so I don't know if he'll be attached to anything else. There's some other people who are producing who might be also attached to this, so we'll have to see if he's sort of still going to be continued as seen as the writer on this particular movie. They're not stating anything about when production starts on this, but I'm thinking if Idris Elba's working on anything I haven't heard of as of lately. No, he's just finishing up the Hobbs and Shaw movies, so I don't think he has anything lined up. So this might be the next movie in line. I haven't heard anything about him becoming the new James Bond, because we already know Daniel Craig has yet to start production. I think he's getting ready to start production because he just finished doing the movie Knives Out with Rian Johnson. So we'll have to see how that turns out. But my whole thing is this, because they're claiming that he's going to be alone on screen most of this, most of the movie. I was like this, you need to go ahead and reach out to Tom Hanks and talk to him about how he did Castaway, being alone, doing certain scenes, how he was able to find his inner alone for him to get through the movie, you know. But I'm just, you know, all joking aside, but yeah, I'm curious about this particular one. This kind of just reminds me of movies like Gravity and Mars. So yeah, we'll just have to see how this pans out and what this particular mysterious force is going to be. Secondly, another person who was supposed to be attached to this but is no longer is Gal Gadot. So I'm assuming we're going to possibly have another cast person coming on, a female cast member. So we'll have to see moving forward. And as I say, when you know more, I will know more as well, and I will tell you guys. So moving on, my last order of movie news. Now this one I'm actually excited because I'm curious to know what this is about. This has to do with another possible movie for a movie pairing of two directors coming together to do a possible movie. Nothing written in stone yet. Now word is out that Jennifer Kitt made a comment that she would love, and she's considering working on something that's, you know, in the beginning stages with Guillermo del Toro. I'm excited because I loved her movie The Babadook. I love that movie. A lot of people, when I saw the trailer, it was so freaking creepy. I was like, oh yeah, see, I want to read these little storybooks like this, and that ugly looking story thing when they opened it up and how he came out with that ugly face and that top hat. I was just like, what is this? And I was like, oh yeah, this is right up my alley because it's something I'm not used to seeing. It looks creepy, and it's all based around a storybook that's, you know, just something that you wouldn't think would ever come true. And then you see this almost figment, you know, this appearance, whatever, that could be all in her mind, as some of us thought it was, whichever, but when you see what's happening within the movie, it's a lot more than we really thought it was. It was such a good movie. I have watched it numerous times when it first came out. Every now and then I, will pull it out and watch it. So to know that she is possibly in the works with doing something, but nothing, like I said, it's just nothing new. Just all just talks. Let me know what she said. She goes and she says, look, we've got something on the boil. She also says, I'm not being secretive, but I'm not sure I can talk about it. She said, it is something scary and I really admire him and his work. Yes, I'm like you, girl. I concur. I think he's a true artist, so I'm excited to know more. We're in the early stages of that. Now, he did not come back and co-sign as of yet with her comments as of recently, but it's not like he didn't say, what she's saying is not true, whatever. He didn't say anything. So that leaves open interpretation, but I feel like she didn't say anything to say exactly what it's about. So he probably has no problem with that, whichever, because he could have had some publicists or somebody make a comment about that. So I feel like that's a good sign in aspect to her blurting out this stuff, whichever. But that does make me very excited because both these two coming together, knowing they're a part of a certain genre that I love, which is horror. I'm totally down. I look forward to knowing more about this. I'm hoping it's something that's upcoming in their near future, not like 2 years from now, whatever. Maybe something that he could be working on going into next year. I already know he has other things going on right now that I'd already discussed in my movie news, but this has me excited. So I'm totally down to see whatever he's cooking up with Jennifer Kent. So I'm gonna keep my eyes out on this particular bit of information. But yes, this looks like something that's gonna be a nice treat. And like I said, her movie was creepy. Matter of fact, you guys, let me know if you all saw The Babadook. Hopefully you guys, some of you all did see it and what you think about that. So, but yes, you guys, I'm all done. All 16 items. So you know what? Comment below. Let me know what you all think of any of them that I discussed. I want your input, your feedback, what you think. And with that said, I will see you guys on the next movie news. You guys take care.